Imagine you worked hard your whole life. Every month, a little chunk of your salary quietly disappears into something called a retirement fund, a pension, a savings account, an index fund. Call it whatever you want. You were told, don't touch it, let it grow. It's your future. So you didn't touch it. You trusted the system. You went to work, paid your bills, and slept peacefully, thinking your money was sitting somewhere safe, growing like a little financial tree. Here's the uncomfortable truth: that money, that nest egg you've been building for 20, 30, maybe 40 years, right now, at this very moment, some of the richest people on earth are using it as their personal exit door. And the most terrifying part is, it's completely legal. It's by design, and almost nobody is talking about it. So today, we need to talk about something called exit liquidity and why your retirement account might be the most quietly exploited financial tool in modern history. What is exit liquidity? Let's start simple, because this concept is actually not uncomplicated at all. Meet Michael. Michael bought a house for $5,000 back in 2010. The neighborhood got popular. Now the house is worth $2 million. Michael wants to cash out. He wants to sell and take his profit. But here's the problem. To sell, Michael needs a buyer. Someone who will take the house off his hands at $2 million. That buyer, that's the exit liquidity. The buyer is the person who lets Michael get rich and walk away. And if the buyer is smart, they know what the house is worth and they negotiate. But if the buyer is uninformed, emotional, or just forced to buy regardless of the price, well, Michael pockets everything, and the buyer is left holding an overpriced asset. Now, scaled story up. Instead of one house, imagine trillions of rupees, trillions of dollars of stock, share assets held by the ultra wealthy. When they want to sell, they need buyers too. And over the last 30 years, the financial system has quietly, cleverly, and legally engineered the perfect buyer. That buyer is you, through your retirement account. The passive investing trap. Now, to understand how this works, you need to understand something called passive investing and specifically index funds. Because this is where the magic trick happens. An index fund is very simple. Instead of a fund manager picking stocks, an index fund just automatically buys every company in a list like the S&P 500 in America, which is just the 500 biggest companies. And you were told this is the smart way to invest, low fees, diversified, set it and forget it. And honestly, for a long time, that advice was mostly correct. Here's the thing though: when you put money into an index fund, you don't get to choose what you're buying. The fund buys whatever is in the index, automatically, without asking you, without checking if the price is fair. Think of it like this: imagine a supermarket where every time you walk in, you are legally required to buy whatever is on the shelf at whatever price the supermarket has decided. You can't negotiate. You can't say, actually, this mango looks overpriced today. You just buy it. That's what a passive index fund does. Now, here's where it gets spicy. As of right now, passive index funds hold over $13 trillion of stocks globally. $13 trillion of money that will automatically, blindly buy any stock that gets added to the index. And the people who own companies, they know this. They know that if they can get their company into a major index, trillions of dollars of passive money will automatically flood in and buy their stock, pushing the price up. So the game becomes, get into the index, let passive money pour in, sell your own shares into that demand, walk away rich, and your retirement account. It's one of the biggest passive investors on the planet, the SpaceX red carpet. Now let me show you a real example, because this isn't a theory, this is happening right now. In 2025, Elon Musk's SpaceX announced it was preparing to go public, meaning it was going to list on the stock market for the first time. And the target valuation, $1.75 trillion. For context, that's more than the entire London Stock Exchange's top 10 companies combined. Now, here's the problem: SpaceX lost nearly $5 billion last year. $5 billion. Gone. Poof. Smoke. So, who in their right mind buys a company losing that money at a $1.75 trillion price tag? And here is where it gets absolutely wild. Just before this IPO, NASDAQ, the American stock exchange, quietly changed its rules. Under the old rules, a new company had to wait 3 months after listing before it could be added to the NASDAQ 100 index, that famous index that passive funds automatically track and buy. Under the new rules, that wait time was cut to just 15 trading days. Under the old rules, a company needed at least 10% of its shares freely available to the public to qualify for the index. SpaceX was only planning to offer 4 to 5%. Under the new rules, that minimum requirement was completely removed. And then, this is my personal favorite, buried deep in the new rules, is something called a hidden multiplier. If your company has a small float, NASDAQ now counts it as 3 times bigger than it actually is. So a 4% float gets treated as a 12% float. They just invented shares out of thin air, on paper. Translation: the rules were rewritten specifically so that SpaceX could get into the index as fast as possible, with as little public ownership as possible, and still trigger billions of dollars of automatic passive buying. The CFO of SpaceX literally told a room full of bankers that retail investors, meaning ordinary people, would get 30% of the IPO shares, not because retail investors help the company, but because, in his words, they are loyal to Elon. A portfolio manager called George Noble said it best: your 401k is the exit liquidity, your retirement savings, automatically buying in at peak valuation, while insiders sell. How the rich get what? Explain the full score simply, because once you see it, you can't unseen it. Step 1: a founder or investor builds a company. They own shares that cost them almost nothing. Step 2: the company gets hyped, the valuation goes up, media covers it, everyone gets excited. Step 3: the company goes public and gets added to a major index. Step 4: passive funds hold with your money automatically buy millions of shares. They don't care about the price, they just buy. Step 5: all that buying pushes the price up even more. Step 6: the founders and early investors who have been waiting for this exact moment start selling their shares into all that beautiful demand. Step 7: the insiders are out, they got rich. They're on a yacht somewhere. Step 8: 6 months later, the hype dies. The company's real numbers come out. The stock starts falling. Step 9: you check your retirement account and wonder why it went down. That's the cycle, and it repeats over and over and over. The buyers are forced in early through passive funds and index inclusion. The sellers exit later once the price is at its peak. And the mechanism that makes passive investing convenient for you is the exact same mechanism that makes you a guaranteed buyer for anyone clever enough to squeeze their way into an index. But wait, is passive investing bad? Now, here's where I want to be honest with you. Because I'm not here to make you panic and sell everything. That would be stupid. Passive investing is still one of the best tools available to ordinary people for building long term wealth. Low fees, diversified, historically strong returns. But there's a difference between knowing how a tool works and being completely blind to how it can be used against you. The pitch you were sold was: passive investing is the smart, humble, common sense approach. You avoid bad stock picks, you avoid high fees, and you let the market do the work. All of that is true. What nobody mentioned in the pitch is the other side of the coin. The same mechanism that buys the index for you also buys whatever gets added to it without your input, without your approval, and without anyone checking if the price is fair. And right now, the people who know this best are the founders, the venture capitalists, and the investment bankers who have spent their entire careers figuring out exactly how to exploit it. They don't hate you. They don't even think about you. You're just the exit. So, what do you do with this information? First, don't panic. Seriously. Don't go sell your index funds tomorrow because of a YouTube video. That's not the point. The point is awareness. Because an informed investor is a harder target than an uninformed one. Second, pay attention to what's getting added to the indexes you invest in. When a massive hyped company goes public and immediately gets fast tracked into your index fund, ask yourself, who is benefiting from my automatic purchase? Third, understand that the market is not a level playing field. It never has been. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start navigating it with your eyes open instead of sleepwalking into someone else's exit strategy. Because here's the uncomfortable final truth: the system was not built for you to get rich. It was built for you to be useful, to provide liquidity, to absorb shares, to be the last buyer in the chain so that everyone above you can cash out cleanly. But knowing that, that's your first unfair advantage. If you want to actually understand what's happening in markets, the stuff traditional financial media glosses over, because it doesn't trend on Twitter, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the real threats to your money are never the loud ones. Those are already priced in. The real threats are the ones hiding in plain sight, like your retirement account.